Hello and welcome to On Second Street. Today we're talking about preventative health care. And our first guest has come up with something really interesting. It's a little bit morbid. It's called the Death Clock app. And what's really interesting about it is that you can enter in some information and it will give you an estimate as to when you're going to pass away. But most importantly, it will tell you how you can extend your life expectancy if you make some changes to your life. So if you take a look at these images, you can see that it told me that without any changes, I'm expected to die on March 10, 2065. And if I make some changes, I can live an extra 6 years, passing away on April 19, 2071. So mark the date on your calendars for both, just in case. Here to chat about this interesting new app is Brent Franson. He's the founder of the app. Brent, thanks for taking a few minutes to chat with me today.
Thanks for having me on.
So let's talk about the app. Where did you get the idea to come up with an app like this?
So I've been in my life very frustrated with the experience I've had with healthcare. At a young age, in my teens, I was misdiagnosed as bipolar and put on a bunch of medications that took me 15 years to get off of. And what it made me realize was we're kind of on our own as it relates to preventative health. Our healthcare system, this would be true in the US and true in Canada, it's got a couple of arrows in its quiver. It's pretty good if a medication can solve your problem or a procedure can solve your problem.
Mhm.
But in terms of helping us do the things that we need to do to prevent having the issue in the first place, it fails us. And so I've been very focused as a technologist and entrepreneur on building technology that helps people change their behavior, their lifestyle, their habits to live better lives and longer lives. So it's really quite personal for me.
So tell us about how you make the grand calculations. You don't have a crystal ball. It's based on different reports and analysis. Could you tell us about how you kind of gathered all this information and some of the things that go into these estimates?
Yeah. So the prediction, what happens is you're answering 25 questions. These are about lifestyle. They're about genetics. They cover all of the main areas that you would want to think about if you're predicting somebody's death date. We are first sitting on top of the existing actuarial science. There's a lot of data that comes out of the health departments of all of the Western countries in which we make these predictions. And then what we've done on top of that is we have trained a proprietary AI on 1,200 longevity studies. So we believe our expectancy predictions are among the most accurate in the world because we've got this combination of the traditional way of doing this, along with an AI that's been trained on all of these studies. And so the combination of those two things produces an exact date. I should say, I think the exact date is probably wrong, but we think it's directionally very close. And there's a little bit of novelty in having a very specific day.
And were there any surprises for you when you were gathering all these studies and this information where you kind of looked at it and you thought, wow, I had no idea that that affected my life expectancy so much?
I think we knew that things like sugar and sleep really, too much sugar consumption and just not enough sleep or low quality sleep, that those would affect it. Those affect it more than you might think. There's also a big role for genetics here. I mean, some people just have great genetics. Everybody's got that grandmother who drank and smoked until she was 102 and then, died in her sleep, stories like that. And so genetics, of course, play a big role. But it was, I think, sleep in particular, sleep, good, getting enough sleep, high quality sleep, it really matters.
So just on that notion of sleep, what should people be getting versus say what they actually are getting on
It's
average,
going
of
to
course?
be, yeah, it's going to be different for everybody. But I think it's more the quality of sleep dimension that's so important. So things like eating big meals within a few hours of going to sleep, staring at our screens prior to going to sleep, any alcohol, really any alcohol consumption is going to wreck your sleep. And so I think the things that we're not set up to do are the right things right before bed. We want to have really dark rooms that are cool. If we think about where, our ancestors came from, the lights are dimming kind of as the sun sets, and then you're naturally being lulled into sleep. Whereas today we've got the lights on in our home and we've got the screens on in our faces that makes it harder for us to go to sleep. So I think where we miss is less the quantity of sleep, although there's certainly something to be gained there, but it's in the environment of sleep. It's setting ourselves up for sleep, eating dinner earlier, abstaining from
Brent, we're going to have
alcohol,
to,
getting off. Oh, sorry,
we got
I
to
lost
stop
track
there
of
for a
time.
sec. Speaking of sleep, and we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.